Hello there everybody, Sabana92 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to the House in Fata Morgana, a Requiem for Innocence. I bet you weren't expecting another episode this week. Well, I decided I may as well just, do a little bit extra on the side, especially considering this coming work week I'm going to be swamped with extra, 10-hour shifts and all that. That's gonna be fun! So I figured let's go ahead and just do another Fata Morgana video. And time flows ever onward, carrying them 2.5 years forward. So, I was not expecting that we get a time jump. There she is. An early summer breeze blew past, rustling vivid green leaves. With the pleasantly warm wind at my back, I entered a graveyard. Anyone who wasn't from around here would probably have thought it's nothing more than a curious arrangement of stones on an abandoned plot of land, though. No one knew the names of most of those buried here, and they'd probably died without anyone by their sides. In death, though, they finally found themselves with someone to give them attention, to show them love. Love in the form of a prayer for the repose of their souls. And on this abandoned plot of land knelt its de facto caretaker, a young girl, and the only person who paid the dead who lay here any mind. She's too deep in prayer. I guess I'll have to wait. It had been a little under 2.5 years since I had rescued Morgana from the Lord's Manor. Much to my chagrin, she was still far from anything that could be described as opening up. But she wasn't quite as distant as before, from my perspective at least. Well, dude, you took the time to help her, so... She had stopped calling the girls at the brothel vile and impure, and she was even somewhat conversational. Sometimes. It seemed to me her trauma had loosened its grip on her, if only a little. Of course, she had a tendency to be on the brutally blunt side, which became more obvious as she started talking more. Yet I felt like the brutal part was getting more prominent every day. Though I supposed it was a good sign. Better than her refusing to interact at all, at least. Probably. She had also most notably begun showing signs of independence. Burying and sending off the dead who had no family or loved ones to do it for them was one such activity she had taken on. Living in the slums, it was hardly uncommon to see corpses abandoned in alleyways or on the side of the road. Generally speaking, they would be tossed off into a ditch somewhere, out of the way to rot. But over the past couple years, they had stopped happening. It had stopped happening. Because Morgana had taken it on herself to give them proper burials and a gravestone. Nothing fancy, just a plain slab of rock to mark the grave, but it certainly seemed much more respectable than the alternative. Yeah. Every day, she came out to the graveyard to pray for the departed. She had always seemed a bit abnormally puce, but there was something almost frightening about her dedication to the task. She was only 9 years old at the time of the slave revolt, which made her 11 now. And rather than play with her other children her age, she collected abandoned corpses in the slums and brought them here to bury and pray for. Abnormal, didn't even begin to describe it. Some time ago I asked her, "Why don't you go out and play like the other children?" To which she calmly responded, "I could not possibly waste my time idly engaging in worldly recreation." I knew that God was the most important figure in her life, but it still seemed excessive. Not even a convent was that draconian. I made numerous attempts to warm her up, but they all fell flat. Nothing I said seemed to make it through the heavy wall she had built around herself. And that was how Morgana acted around me and the girls at the brothel, those closest to her. The rest of the town could hardly get within shouting distance before being shut out. Although it wasn't like they tried either. Most everyone else actively distanced themselves from her. Well, that's because they're assholes. And on some level, they appreciated her taking care of the bodies that showed up, but ultimately to them, she was little more than a spider that captured more dangerous insects begrudgingly left to its own devices. Hardly anyone found her pleasant, and they didn't hide it either. Frickin' pricks. But not just because of her choice in hobbies. The biggest factor was, of course, May your soul find eternal peace. with disquieting marks covering her face. You all done?
I didn't realize you were there.
Been here a little while now. You should really pay more attention to your surroundings. This isn't exactly the safest area.
Why bother? No one is going to do anything to me.
Maybe not now, but a few years down the line, that's a whole nother story. You should get in the habit early. You're a growing girl, and your face could very well be better by then, too. Never mind the fact that there are people out there who'll take anything as long as it's got girl parts. What if one of them decides to target you?
Appalling.
Aren't they? Which is why you should be a little more careful.
You are an appalling man.
Why am I appalling?
Because the thought crossed your mind.
It did not. I'm just saying there are people out there who think like that, and you need to look out for yourself.
The fact that you would say that at all is appalling.
I'm just looking out for you.
Oh Lord, may this sinful man be cast down to hell where he belongs.
What the hell, lady? Jeez, you know no mercy, do you? I feel like you treat these corpses nicer than you do me.
You'd be correct. If you want me to be nice to you, go die.
This girl has got no mercy. Anyway, if you're done praying, get over here. It's ointment time.
How many times must I tell you? You're wasting your time.
Don't be such a pessimist. Rome wasn't built in a day. And there are still other ointments we haven't tried.
I'm not being pessimistic. I just...
Then, unless you want to stay looking like that, what do you have to lose? Now, come on, off of the hood.
You are a very stubborn man.
Pot meet kettle. Call me whatever you want. Nothing you can say will bother me in the slightest.
I loathe you.
What?
You were saying?
Oh my god! You're kidding, right?
Partially.
You little...
I thought you were going to apply the ointment. What are you waiting for?
I sighed and gave her a little glower, then scooped up some ointment with my fingers. Morgana angled her face toward the floor, closed her eyes and waited for me to begin. There was an element within the gang that gave me flack for all of the time I spent looking after and caring for Morgana. Well, it was mostly just Gratian, actually.
If I were you, I'd have tossed that ungrateful brat out on her ass years ago. Would be another story if she were a looker, of course.
And to a degree, I understand where he was coming from. I certainly would have appreciated a little gratitude. On the other hand, all the time I spent with her, even if it was largely being verbally abused, allowed me to notice the more subtle changes in her mannerisms. And seeing that growth, however small, was one of the things that motivated me to keep at it. For example, a year ago, whenever I went to make physical contact with her, I would have to verbally reassure her I had no intention to do her any harm, or she was likely to start shouting. And even if she didn't, she would sit there the whole time I applied ointment, incredibly stiff. Now she was more relaxed. I could even sense a sort of trust emanating from her within her as my fingers rubbed against her skin. It wasn't my imagination. At least, I didn't think it was. It was something only perceptible through the act of making direct physical contact. That said, she is still borderline inscrutable. As I massaged the ointment into her skin, I traced the outline of her face with the flat of my thumb. The vast majority of her face was discolored, and in places patches had festered and fallen off. The skin at the corner of her lips was shriveled and curled up, which I could only imagine was fairly painful. It was rough and uneven, hardly a pleasant sensation, and a far cry from the clean, smooth skin most girls her age would have. Maybe she's right. You'd think it would show some sign of healing by now if it were ever going to. Despite my constant insistence that she stay optimistic, it was probably me who was most disappointed, most frustrated at the complete lack of improvement. Dude, you're trying. The ointment wasn't cheap, to be sure, but I didn't give a damn about the money. It was the sense of hopelessness that got me. That it was all for nothing. Back when we first took her in, Maria had suggested the marks on Morgana's face might be a manifestation of something psychological or emotional. And I was beginning to think that she was right. That wasn't going to stop me from trying, though. This was the only thing I could think of to do for her. I wonder, what will she look like when she's all healed? Maybe she'll smile for— oh my god. Oh, the fucking Fata Morgana feels— fuck! That last thing that he asked for that she couldn't do for him. Oh my god. I'd like to see that someday. Hello? Is anyone in there? You need something? Oh, sorry. I got lost in my thoughts. I didn't realize I had stopped.
Lost in your thoughts? That sounds positively dreadful.
What's that supposed to mean? I was just thinking about what you—
What?
Never mind. Finishing match, just begging for another round of derision.
That's not why I wanted to get your attention either way. What happened there?
Where?
Your arm. It's cut.
Morgana pointed to a gash peeking out from beneath my sleeve. While it wasn't a very deep wound, it was hardly a mere scratch either. Oh, yeah, that's, you know.
I decidedly do not know.
It's not important. Don't worry about it.
Use that on yourself.
Huh?
The ointment! Stop wasting it on my face, which is never going to heal, and use it on yourself.
No need to get so worked up about it, Morgana.
I am not worked up. I am simply expressing my discontent at your foolishness.
Which I'm pretty sure is the definition of being worked up.
Regardless, don't use any more ointment on me. Use it on yourself. I'm sure it'll appreciate actually being useful for once.
Last I checked, medicine doesn't have feelings. Really, it's not that bad. And besides, I'm only going to get more, so what's the difference?
You're going to get more? And what are you doing that would make you say that?
Yeah, I'm...
Too sinful to admit? You're an abhorrent man.
No, I swear, it's nothing bad. You win, I'll tell you. I was hoping to keep it a secret. I'm... doing a little training.
Training?
Yeah. Crime and unrest has been on the rise in the slums. Oh, well, not just the slums, the city proper, too. Things were quiet for a while after the slave revolt, but the Lord suddenly imposed a major tax increase about 6 months ago, which has resulted in a significant number of people unable to afford living in the city. To put it simply, the iron fist is squeezing even tighter than ever. And as a result, there's been a huge influx of people into the slums. You know how tight things are already, don't you? What do you suppose happens when you have limited resources and space, and suddenly twice as many people vying for their share? People have started trying to stake out their territory, and they're fighting hard to defend it. People are mugging and robbing each other over scraps. It's a mess.
I had no idea.
Not many thieves pick makeshift graveyards as their marks, after all. Though in this case, I actually think your being so isolated is probably to your benefit. But, in any event, me and the rest of the gang have formed a band of peacekeepers of sorts.
Peacekeepers? Is that not the city guard's job?
The guards have never given a damn about the slums. Why waste manpower on people who can't even pay their taxes? As far as the Lord and his men are concerned, we're just leeching off his land. We're damn lucky he doesn't make an active effort to chase us all out. That means it's our responsibility to protect ourselves.
I see. So you're trained to use a sword as a part of this band of peacekeepers.
In short, yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting? In what way?
Give me the ointment.
I'm not done with your...
What's even left? You've done more than enough. Now give it to me.
Here.
Roll up your sleeve.
You're not going to put it on me, are you? Like I said, I don't need...
How many times have I told you the exact same thing? And how many times have you listened to me? This is payback for all the times you've refused to listen to me. You can't argue with that, can you?
No, I guess I can't.
What are you smirking about?
Nothing.
Try to keep this sort of thing to a minimum if you would.
Why would I want to limit my training time? I need to be prepared for whatever might come our way. That madman of a lord could be scheming to send his soldiers in as we speak.
I'm sure there are others more suited for the job. You don't seem like you would be especially adept with a blade.
Hey, don't judge my skill by my appearance. I'll have you know, I'm the second strongest member of the gang.
Oh, yes, that's very reassuring.
You're on fire today, huh? Since you seem to have forgotten, I put up a damn decent fight against the Lord during the... God, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I digging up some of the most painful memories for a cheap brag? Anyways, you get the idea. I'm pretty good with a sword, so you don't need to worry about me.
I see. And out of curiosity, who's the strongest member?
Excuse me? Why would she ask me to my face to give her the name of the one man stronger than me?
It's not a difficult question.
Some asshole named Gratian.
Interesting. Well, I hope he remains number 1, and you stay number 2 forever.
And why exactly would you want that? The whole reason I'm training so hard is so I can surpass Gratian, and she wants me to stay below him? Unbelievable. I get it. It's easier for you to look down on me if there's someone who can put me in my place for you.
That isn't why.
No? Well then, mind telling me why?
The strongest member of a group is the one who stands on the front lines.
What's your point? The most qualified person has the charge, yes. I don't see anything quite wrong with that.
It puts them at greater risk.
Wait, are you concerned for my safety?
It's not you I'm concerned about. Your death will simply make life more difficult for the girls at the brothel.
Well, would you look at that? You, worried about me? I guess even you have a soft spot or two.
Oh, for heaven's sake. I already told you that's not why I... I'm all done.
Thanks.
Now I assume you've finished your I assume you're finished with your business here, so feel free to make yourself scarce.
You don't need to be so rude. Or do you have some ulterior motive for wanting me gone?
For one, it's impossible for the dead to rest in peace with you around.
Maybe try thinking about the living first for once. I've never really cared for how much importance people put on showing respect for the dead. It all seems so pointless to me.
Your blasphemy knows no end, does it? When your time comes, you're going to find yourself with no one to grieve over your loss.
Fine with me. People are only worth their salt while they're alive.
Ouch. And what about the afterlife?
Who's got time to think about the next life when you live in an overcrowded slum where someone might kill you one day for a couple coins?
all the more reason to take it into consideration. The consequences one's actions in life have on the next should serve to encourage us to always do what is right.
Not sure if I buy that.
I'm done with this conversation. I don't think there's any getting through that thick skull of yours.
If I offended you, I apologize. I didn't mean to. Say, Morgana, would you mind humming that song you're so fond of for me?
What? Where did that come from?
I'm in a good mood today. And what better way to improve a good day than with the good music?
I do not follow that line of reasoning one bit. Why should I have to sing to make you feel better?
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anyone. If you have even half a heart, you'll do this tiny little favor for me.
Yes, because trying to manipulate me is a wonderful way to make me want to do anything for you.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was mean of me. Please.
That doesn't sound very sincere. But fine, I'll do it.
Facing away from me, Morgana dropped to the grassy ground, staring off into the distance and beginning to hum. It wasn't a hymn or a requiem for the dead, but a folk song the girls at the brothel would sometimes sing. No one seemed to know who had written it, though. The lyrics were slightly vulgar, and people were supposed to clap and hoot along with the music, but Morgana only hummed the melody, leaving the rest of that out. In isolation, and sung with her voice, it became a thing of beauty. It was pure, untainted by the filthiness of the slums, unobscured by the crudeness of the people who normally sang it. In many ways, it was hard to believe they were the same song. This felt like it was hers, like it existed solely to be heard in her voice. Listening to her sing, I sprawled out on the grass. The blue sky spread out above me as far as the eye could see, and as I gazed up into it, all my problems seemed to fade away. That I lived in a dirty slum, that the Lord was digging his claws even deeper into the city, that I was in the middle of a makeshift graveyard for those who had no one else. It all just disappeared. I felt almost as though I had ascended to heaven. The first time I heard Morgana sing was, if memory served, approximately a year earlier. At the time, she was still completely walled off, much like she had been when I first brought her to the slums. She always kept her eyes on her feet, and she spoke in a soft voice, frequently pausing. She was wary of everyone, including me. I mean, for God's sake, she bit my freaking arm. One day, I went to point ointment on her face, and she shouted, roared practically for me not to touch her. To be honest, it was somewhat aggravating. Another I asked about her father, and she just pointed up at the sky, saying, "He's up there." Which I took to mean he was dead, so I dropped the subject and got back to applying ointment to her. At some point I started humming the song, which I had picked up from the girls, and upon hearing that, she told me she was quite fond of it. And then, she began singing. Immediately, I found myself entranced by her voice. Though she always spoke in soft, muffled tones, her singing voice was incredibly clear, like I was listening to a chorus of angels. Of course, the moment I put that thought into words, it'll lose all its potency. It'll just turn into some loser's cheap pickup line. It really is something, though. If she told me her voice can raise the dead, I would be inclined to believe it. It's just that beautiful. And the voice I'm using is extremely offensive to that. While it was true Morgana could be difficult and wasn't the most affable, I knew that at heart she was a sensitive and compassionate girl. That she would come to this graveyard every day and pray for peace for all the forgotten souls was more than enough proof of that. Though she surrounded herself with high walls, she was probably the kindest, most loving person I knew. And that was what drew me to her. Didn't matter what anyone said about her, how quick they were to judge her as ugly as or standoffish. I knew they were all wrong. It would be wonderful if I could just spend the rest of my days listening to her sing.
Are you asleep?
I'm awake. I was just resting my eyes.
Oh. And I was about to accuse you of being boorish for having the audacity to ask me to sing and then fall asleep.
The fact that you were almost upset seems to suggest you want to be heard, despite how much you protested it.
No, I simply...
Oh, I've got the perfect idea. We can build a makeshift stage at the pub and have you sing for everyone.
What?
Don't worry, it'll be fine. You can wear a mask if you don't want anyone to see your face. You don't even have to get on stage if you'd rather not. You can just sing from behind a curtain. Who knows? You could end up being a big hit. Come on, come one, come all! Hear the soothing song of the enigmatic siren.
Absolutely not.
No? I think it's a pretty good idea myself. Oh, is it because you don't like taking other people's money? I wasn't planning on charging. I just thought it would be nice if more people could hear.
As I already said, absolutely not. And if you push the issue any further, I'll never sing for you again.
Oh my god, the worst punishment! Noted. Forget I said anything. Seemed like a good opportunity to get to interacting with more people, but I guess not. Such a pretty voice is just wasted on just me.
What? You look like you have something else to say.
Nope, not a thing. Well, I'm not going to force her if she's opposed to it. Say, Morgana, there's something I've been wondering for a while now. You've never actually called me by my name, have you?
And where did that come from?
I've just been thinking about it, and I can't recall a single time you've done it in the more than 2 years we've known each other. Don't tell me you've forgotten my name. Are you kidding me?
I remember it, yes.
I don't like that emphasis on remember.
Is it really that big of a deal? There's rarely ever anyone else around, so it's not like you don't know when I'm talking to you. Besides...
Besides?
I'm planning to leave when I get older, so I don't see much point in getting very attached to anyone.
Do you have a destination in mind?
No, not yet.
Why are you thinking so far ahead then? You're 11 years old. You've still got a few years before you're old enough to be independent. And you're going to spend that whole time keeping everyone at arm's length? I just think maybe it's time you took down some of those walls. Might take a little weight off your shoulders in the process. I'm not going to say you have to, though. Anyway, I should head out. I've got work to do. Try not to stay out here too late, okay?
I'll be leaving as soon as you're gone.
I could walk you back then.
I can make it back fine on my own, thank you.
As you wish. Hey, Morgana?
I thought you were leaving.
One day, I'll show you the world.
Do you ever get tired of saying that?
You've got to think big. Dream. The world's changing all around us. A life just fighting to make it day to day is hardly a life at all. I don't want to spend the rest of my days confined to this tiny little corner of the world.
Well, try not to let your dreams go so big they crush you.
I'm sure I'll be fine. I'll just have you sing for me if it ever gets to be overwhelming.
Why would I be there?
Why wouldn't you? It's hard to show you the world if I don't bring you with me. Knowing you, you still won't know where you want to go. So I'll bring you with me. We can find a place for you together. Pretty good deal, huh?
I don't need to see the world. All I want is...
What was that?
nothing.
Now I'm even more curious.
It's nothing, really. Now go on, shoo.
Fine, fine. See you later. Oh my god! Ugh.
Doesn't he ever get tired of chasing me down day after day? I thought as I watched him walk off. Quite honestly, I didn't understand that man one bit. Apparently, a lot of people respected him, and he seemed to have a fairly large social circle as well. I couldn't fathom why someone like him would go out of his way to spend time with me. It wasn't for lack of people to talk to, and it certainly wasn't because we got along. Never mind my face, which couldn't be pleasant for anyone to be subjected to for any amount of time.
Oh, come on! It doesn't bother me at all, and I'm pretty sure there... You gotta understand, there are people who don't care.
Would he go so far out of simple pity? Hopefully he doesn't have ulterior motives.
At long last, your face is healed. I spent enough money on you to build a house, and you're going to pay me back tenfold. Now go forth, Morgana. Work. Be the greatest whore this brothel's ever seen.
He's probably not that devious. Oh god, why the hell did I think of that? Enough foolish speculation. It's going to start getting dark soon. I should head back. The brothel was always rather quiet at this time of day. The girls worked at night, so they were generally asleep while the sun was out. It was my job to take care of cleaning, laundry, and preparing meals while they rested. When I first arrived here, everything seemed so filthy. And while I still felt that way to a degree, nights, when they were open for business, were still miserable. I wasn't quite so prejudiced against the girls themselves anymore. They were kind to me. Treated me like a sister. Or tried to, at least. I kept them at a distance, though. I didn't so overtly spurn them as I had before, but as the holy daughter of God, I could not form familial relationships with prostitutes. I could not delight in being pampered by them. My unwillingness to open up probably disheartened them, but still they did not throw me out or lash back at me for it. And no one made any remarks about my face. As prostitutes, they frequently caught all sorts of diseases. In my more than 2 years here, several had even passed away. One had gotten hives all over her body, transforming from fairly pretty to an absolutely hideous in only a few days' time. And they had seen considerably more than me, so they had no reason to comment on a girl with a little flesh missing from her face. Which wasn't to say everyone was sympathetic for me. I should get a fire started. I had taken care of most of the cleaning before leaving for the cemetery, so my next task was preparing food for the day. Supplies had been scant of late, which meant today I was making yet another watery vegetable soup. Oh right, you mentioned crime was on the rise. That would explain the trouble getting supplies. And here I am, completely oblivious to what's going on outside. From time to time, I would catch one of the girls saying, often with an uncomfortable laugh, "She's still the same old Morgana." But personally, I felt as though I had changed quite a bit since arriving here. No longer being intrinsically disgusted by prostitutes was big enough, but even more significantly, how pathetic. I had become astutely aware of how much I was on the receiving end of others' generosity. Before coming here, the thought would have never even occurred to me. I was always the giver of generosity. The saint everyone, man, woman, and child alike, came to for help. I hadn't told anyone what I was, though, so I didn't get any of that special treatment. And perhaps that was part of what had allowed me to change. Of course, Because I kept all that tightly locked up inside, the only thing people saw was an aloof little girl. Finally, the cool is lit. Now to add tinder. Knock, knock. What? Knock, knock, knock? Huh? What? Who's that? And who shouts knock, knock instead of knocking? Everyone else is asleep, so I can't just hope for someone else to deal with it. But someone's going to wake up eventually if she keeps yelling. But everyone's exhausted and they need their rest.
Oh, it's a girl? Knock. Fuck. Who is it?
Oh, for heaven's sake, quiet down out there!
Hi? Angie, what the fuck are you doing here? Oh, finally someone... Ah! What? What are you screaming for? Are you okay?
Huh? Why wouldn't I be? I'm rather more concerned about you myself.
Your face! Look at your face!
Right. My face. It's just,
I heard they treated the girls good here. You can't be, what, maybe 10 years old? And look at you.
Huh?
Unbelievable. What kind of terrible man would a little girl like you then make you give you all those nasty diseases? What the fuck?
I'm just going to pretend I didn't hear half of that and close the door on this bitch. Does she think I'm a prostitute? Hold on, please. You're jumping to conclusions.
Don't you worry. You've got a friend in me.
No, that's not what...
There's still hope. Tomorrow will be a better day.
I'm not...
Oh, is it not because of disease then?
Yes, thank you, finally. No one gave me any disease.
You're being tortured!
What?
Now that I get a closer look at you, your hands are all torn up too. Do they really bust out the whip that often here? No one whip... Gah! I can't believe my eyes! Who would do this to such a little girl?
Excuse me.
I'll have to give the man in charge a stern talking to. It's his job to protect his girls.
Excuse me.
Knock, knock, knock!
Shut up and listen to me!
Jesus! Ouch!
I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Father, I pray for your forgiveness, for I have disobeyed your teaching and raised my hand against my fellow man.
Nothing for me, the one who actually got kicked?
Before you do anything, you could perhaps introduce yourself.
Oh, my sweet, merciful Lord. That's what I get for jumping to conclusions. Oh, God, I can't remember what voice I gave Angie. I've always had this super bad habit of letting my imagination run wild, you see. All because of Atua. As soon as I saw you, it was like dark, dank dungeons. A little girl hung upside down, buck naked. A big smirking shirtless man holding a cat o' nine tails. What the fuck is a cat o' nine tails? What do you mean a fox? Oh, God. Can somebody explain that to me, please? Is that supposed to be like a whip or something? Why is it called that? Why am I questioning this? The girl screams, echoing in the cold stone. Will she live to see another day? That sort of thing.
What the fuck?
It keeps going too. Next, a dashing young man appears to rescue the girl, but he's secretly...
Shut your mouth for me, would you?
Aye, aye.
You're allowed to breathe. Okay, so, what was your name?
Seren, spelled C-E-R-N. That's G like Jester and Rad like ransom. Jiren. Jiren. Fuck it, you're Jiren.
Shut your mouth for me, would you?
Hi.
But you are allowed to breathe.
Aye.
It's way too early for this shit. When's it like? Noon? What? Should I have not let her in? Oh, nah, you're fine. I've known we were getting a new girl for a few days now.
She looks kind of young? Or maybe she's just short.
Well, I sure wasn't expecting this. You don't have to keep your mouth shut permanently. If you have something to say, spit it out.
So is this the part where I get fired before I even start? Morgana, get my pills.
Tell me something, would you? Do you act that around your clients?
What? Is there something wrong with how I act?
Moving on, stand right there for me. And for the love of all that is holy, hold still.
Yes'm. So, what you gonna do?
Just hush and hold still.
Okay. You're studying holes through me.
Just a little more.
Hi. Oh, you're getting real up close and personal there.
Need to make sure you're up to par.
Par with what?
Really?
Is this necessary? Probably not.
Hello? Alright, at ease. You pass. You're hired.
Really? Sweet. So, what was that all about?
You gotta have an exam first, obviously.
I see.
I'll tell you this, though. If you weren't cute as all hell, I'd have thrown you out right on your ass.
Huh, am I really that cute? You're making me blush.
You realize that wasn't a compliment, right? Anyway, you start work tomorrow. Today, familiarize yourself with the rules and layout of the place.
Aye, aye, ma'am.
Morgana, can I ask you to show her around?
What? Oh, alright.
Thanks a bunch.
Is she even aware what she's going to be doing? Much obliged.
I'm already beginning to regret this.
I don't blame you. Talk about culture shock, though. I've never seen a place with a woman manager.
Oh yeah, I'm not the manager. Just an old hat.
So where's the big boss hiding then?
No boss here, just us girls.
What? You don't have a manager? Really?
Nope. You'll find this is more like a community than anything. A bunch of girls with nowhere else to go who banded together and built the place up. And it's been going like that for more than a decade now. From what I've been told, it started just a little shack. Didn't even have a proper floor. But by the time I showed up, the facilities were a little nicer. The roof still leaked like a bitch though, and we didn't have nearly as many rooms set up as we do now. But we worked our tails off for the years, scrounging together the money and time to patch it up and grow into what you see now.
Huh? Neato.
Of course, not having someone specifically in charge of running the place does come with its own set of challenges.
Does it? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Everyone gets to do their own thing.
It's not that simple, unfortunately. Makes it more difficult to iron things out with the community and other businesses when trouble arises. And of course, it means we have no one financing us. Fuck. So every day is a struggle just to make it to the next. Any day could be our last. It could all come crashing down. Toss out any illusions of job security.
Not so neato. I'm still super duper impressed though. Major props. You guys have made this one heck of a place for the slums.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll take that, I guess.
You don't sound very happy about it.
Well, I mean, pretty much everyone who found this place is dead now. It's one of the risks of the job. You work your ass off just to add another day and end up taking 3 off in the process. So once you got enough to do whatever it is you need to do, you walk out that door and never come back. Got it? Whether you've got debt to pay off of, for friends or family who need a little extra money, once you're done, be done.
You're not gonna ask what I need the money for?
If a girl looks like trouble, I'll talk to her and have some guys look into it. But you don't strike me as the type. if you're up to no good, I feel like it'd be pretty obvious. Besides, I've been in this business long enough to know if it's not at the top of most girls' dream job lists. Most of us have been through some nasty shit. We don't even come here to have some other people digging around through it. Boss! Huh? The boss? What? You're sweet, thoughtful, and heck a boss. So I'ma call you boss. It's perfect! I thought I told you we don't have a boss here. Boss? Well, no harm in you taking a liking to me, I guess. Anyway, I'm gonna go crash again. Morgana can answer any questions you've got. Aye aye. Also, any more hollering while I'm trying to sleep and I'll rip that pretty little head of you off your shoulders and shove it between your legs. Got it? Yes, boss. This is fucking weird. All right, Morgana, lead the way.
Sure.
God dang it, Maria, why'd you do this to me? Before we go, though, I have a question. Are you incapable of speaking like a human being? What do you mean? Does it really require explanation? Oh, I get it. We're friends now, so I don't have to talk so stiff-like. What? You call that stiff? Yeah, why? What the heck have I gotten myself into? Though to tell you the truth, I've kind of forgotten how to talk casually. Guess that's just what happens when everyone around you is big cheese. I'm very respectful of my seniors, I'll have you know. This conversation is going nowhere, so let's go. Aye! So you got to here a couple years back? Neat! You're gonna start working here once your face all clears up? I have no intention of becoming a prostitute, no. And Maria has already said she will respect that. Instead, I am tasked with other chores, such as cooking and cleaning, in order to earn my keep. Oh, huh? Maria's even more generous than I thought. Generous? Most places wouldn't look after a sick girl for that long. Let alone give her a room for her own and buy her ointment. I didn't mention ointment. The ointment is his doing, technically speaking, but I suppose she's right. You're right. I've begun to feel that same way recently. Taking care of a few chores cannot possibly counterbalance the burden my being here places on everyone else. They would surely all be better off without me. Oh, that's not what I meant at all. Sure, maybe it doesn't balance out. They're letting you stay here out of the kindness of their hearts. But that doesn't mean you'd be better off elsewhere. That you're not pulling your weight. You've been here for all of, what, an hour? How can you possibly know that? Just look at this place. It's better looking than a lot of places outside the slums. And it's you who's been keeping it so clean, Morgana. The last place I was at, it was dirtier than a bear's bunghole. How would you know that? But this is like heaven compared to that. Without you around, Morgana, the girls wouldn't be able to sleep so comfortably. Perhaps. Are you blushing? You're blushing, aren't you? I'm going to kill you in your sleep. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You can even jump into my arms if you want. You know. You're incredibly obnoxious. My heart! For a second there, she almost had me feeling a little better about myself, but that went right out the window. So you came here a couple years back? That would have been right around when the Lord's slaves revolted, yeah? Yes, right about then. I wish I could have been there for it! I bet it was all sorts of crazy! You mean you weren't around when it happened? Nope. I wasn't in these parts until about a year or so ago. So I've only heard the stories. Back when the uprising happened, I wasn't even in this country. I was way, way far away. I see. So you only moved here recently then? Nah, didn't move. I was kidnapped. What? I'm a bit of an airhead if you haven't noticed. One day, I was just suddenly taken captive, and then I got sold off.
What? Really?
Yep. She was taken captive and sold off. I didn't mishear her, did I? You talk about it like it's just part of your daily routine. Well, it is the second time it's happened.
It is?
Okay, back to the tour then, shall we?
What the hell is with this girl? What?
That raises even more questions.
I can't keep up with her, Jesus!
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about what I want to call you, Morgana.
What do you want to call me? Is that not what my name is for?
Nicknames! Step one to making friends. Duh!
What the hell?
So from now on, I'm gonna call you Morgs. M-O-R-G-S. And with a hard G. But a soft one. So just so there's no confusion.
What the?
Thank you.
I would have never figured it out without your help.
Morgs!
Can you not call me that? It rather gets on my nerves.
You can call me Jerry.
You can't be serious!
Oh my god, her freaking mind is breaking at the moment. What the hell?
Good heavens, I cannot keep up with this girl! Anyway, that about covers it. All that's left to show you is the storeroom.
Weren't we just there?
Yes, but there's a second one. Below us.
Below the floor?
I made my way to the corner of the room, crouching down and pulling up one of the floorboards. From beneath it appeared a staircase leading downward.
Oh! Underground storage! Nice and cool to keep things fresh, too.
This room serves a second purpose, though.
Oh?
It's also a shelter for us to hide in should any sort of trouble arise.
Oh. Huh.
Fortunately, it has not yet been used for that purpose. But we're not in the safest area, so we must be prepared for anything.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Nice a place as this is, I guess it is still in the slums.
Indeed.
Here's hoping we don't ever have to use it.
Indeed.
So that's everything? Then I've seen the whole place?
Yes, that's everything. Oh, or I suppose I could show you the kitchen is...
What's up? I completely forgot I was trying to start a fire!
Run, Morgana!
I scrambled back to the kitchen, but as I had feared, it was far too late. The kills were long since dead.
Looks like you've got a bit of an airheaded side too, Morgs.
And who do you think is to blame for that?
It's alright, we can get it lit together. Let's get lit, fam!
What the hell?
Together! This is all your responsibility.
That was glorious. But unfortunately, I actually have to end right there because I don't have the time to keep on going at the moment. I only had time to go ahead and just get a little extra done for you guys today, but oh my god, that was glorious. Oh my god. I was not expecting a Danganronpa character to show up in Fata Morgana. The crossover of the century. I would love to, actually that would be horrifying, but I would love to see that. Anyway. I'll see you, oh, okay. Oh my god. Okay, I had a few interruptions during the recording, but I think we should be fine. Anyway, if you guys like this, be sure to let me know. I hope you guys don't mind the extra video, but, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. I need to end the video before I have another stroke. I think I'm about to have another stroke. Yeah, I just did.